Hello, everyone. And starting from today, we are going to introduce web application with .NET framework. We concern that we just opening the one session, one semester for only for .NET framework lecture course. That if we just only provide very fundamental, little fundamental things, it's not very interesting. And then also, as well as currently, all of the application project is developing mostly, let's say mostly provided by web application. So I think that's it too. That's better. We also provide a little bit at last warm up the .NET web application part. Then in the future, maybe you can start from yourself, self-learn. Then you can continue to grow up related to your field. Okay, so it is a. I'm using this book. It is also it is a good for to certificate program, but I I understood this is a version a little bit older, but its fundamentals all the times doesn't change. So it's not too big deal. Basically, what's the I'm trying to give a little bit answer for while if you come to the other experience view. For example, you just learned Java or learned from Python, then come to trying to understand what is a C#, then as well as web application in the C#. Basically, what's between the relationship between C# and the .NET web application, and then also ASP.NET. There is a very something sometimes can be interchangeable. For example, if you think ASP.NET, the language ASP.NET is exposed that is definitely as a result finally it would be a web application, but this language itself doesn't change. This is if there's a code, the source code is actually writing the language C#, so there's no difference while you writing the source code level, but infrastructure, the development environment a little bit extended, a little bit difference. So that's you think that this is ASP.NET, is C#, is no problem from some aspect. But you also think the value mentioned that ASP.NET, it means it's definitely you're going to talk about, or definitely you're going to mention about .NET application. That's a kind of relationship. So I'm trying to start from a little bit the ASP.NET. There is a web application that's compared to a desktop application. Difference is the application itself, the running in the application server. There is another thing that come out this application server, which is something unique. Of course, there's several different kind of web composition. A web page, website, the dynamic web page. Those are we needed to mention later a little bit. But in terms that this is main important things that your application running the application server. It's possible to while you development stage, you can your application, while you're creating the application, you're testing the application, you can running the application server, you can run in the same machine. It's no problem. So it means there's a two process. One is the ID itself, and as the application server. So while you run it, there's two things they can you have to run it. Usually, and Windows, they can use IIS. as a application server. Then also sometimes Visual Studio Web Developer Server, they mentioned that there's also another choice to demonstrate your website. Yeah, so that's one things that one things. Another thing is that start from that, I think we need to understand there is a one concept, website and web page. So in the web page website, this is UI. It's not standalone directly running in the appear on your view. Actually, this is a behalf of the browser to show your content, to show your web page. So that's another kind of difference. So if you are without any web page, web development experience, that's very obvious things that while you know that the desktop application, they has a start directly, appear that there is a console or appear that their graphic user interface without interpret any other kind of application. But this is a but web application, it is a different different is two things. One is the application itself running the application server, one thing. That another is another application rely on that, then you can able to show your web page, which is web browser. Of course, we know that the Windows has an Internet Explorer, and Google has a Google Chrome, Firefox, and then other web browsers in the world. Any of them, you can use it. So it's no problem for that. But only things, the two things you should be aware for that. One is web browser you have to rely on. Second is the web application you can deploy and then run it. Web application possible to install in your local, or you can in the production, they can remotely install somewhere else in the web in the web server can install in any other place in the world. Yes. Yeah, so there's in terms of the communication, usually they will be used in HTTP communication, in HTTP protocol. Then they will be used GET and POST, then those very fundamental protocol using the HTTP format. If you didn't, if you know that, this is very good. If you didn't know that, actually, there's in the web page, simple web page, inside there is actually is a three part. One is a header and then body, as well as extra things you can include it in the header. The header can be included some kind of text coding, then media type, or then the status of the response and from the coming from the web page. Those are can be using in the HTTP page. So usually there's a many HTTP method. Usually mostly we will use GET and then POST. Then we also can use put, delete, those things while you heavily applied an Ajax way to development. So it's very useful. In the header, usually they not present in the browser, but they will be included. You can able to see in the source code level. Then there's include some important information, page status, response type, such like that. Of course, we know that this is a little bit some aspect, no difference between the GET and the POST. But usually difference is while you're using the there's a parameter not being hidden in the GET format. So in the inside URL, after the URL, you still can add it the parameter with this link. So it's usually we can recognize that's the GET. But POST is they can hide it the request, only the left this core URL, then you don't know what kind of parameter been sent it, but usually we can, but those things are a little bit different. Sometimes, attachment are a little bit big component. When you put these together, then post is only the choice, but other case we can replaceable each other. Yes, I also mentioned what's put, delete. Those are can be can be used in the Ajax way. At the time, we can use even you can develop a RESTful application. Then it must be use those kind of HTTP standard. We can use it, get some kind of convenience for our development or other connection. There is another very important things that we need to mention. It is a status code. What is a status code? Usually it's three-way, three-way. I mean, start from the 1 and the 2, 3, and the 5. It's the first way. Then they have a different kind of meaning. I mean, what, for example, that if you start from the 1, the information request received continued to process. 2, it means success. 3, it means future action must be taken incompletely request. 4 is something error. 5 is internal error. So that's those 15 items you can use all the time. For example, that 100 continue, 200 is okay, it means successfully get content. 201 is created, the page created means multiple choice. 301 is the removed permanently. 302 is founded. 200 bad request. If URL doesn't found it or remove this file, then you will definitely get to 400. 401 is unauthorized. It means something user and password didn't match. Then you can use such status to recognize to response back to browser. Then you can handle it in the with the further step. 303 is forbidden, and 404 is not found. It's compared to 302, it's found. So it means does exist. 407 is proxy authentication required. So it means not direct access. There should be some middle. There has something you need to proxy. Request is timeout is 408. Request interview too large is 413. 500 is internal server error, so it's very general error of not compiled. Line implications say they must be belong to that one. 501 is not implemented. Those things very frequently, very common status we can use all the time. In terms of the type of HTTP, usually we can use text, even we can use image, even audio, video. We also can be able to embed it in the HTML page. So as long as you will be using those type, even you can embed some application, then you can run it to the web page, such that applet, for example, you writing in the JAX in the what's in the Windows, it's similar things. ActiveX, yeah, in the very old way that can be running in the embedded in the web page at that time. If you there is definitely this type should be specified. Yeah, and then yes, as I said, this is a server should be accepted HTML form. There is a form, of course. I think it is a very elementarily knowledge, so you have to get familiar with that. Then this is a kind of very simple form. They have to be sent a two value. One is the ID, another is a button. They send it the value, of course, with get values customer. So those things using the post method. So it is compared to get is you can compare to get. Then this is a dynamic page, which is you can destination, which is they will be handle those information while you get this in the server. Yeah, and then what else I should say? Yeah, that's kind of yeah. This is a get. This is port, host name, and then you can able to say it's diff. You can still can able to say this parameter, but this one is only you can able to say this URL, but you know there's you can know there is a other things you can extract from the header. That's also fine. Yes. So basically, that's a little bit short information to a beginner. I mean, if you already have a experienced web application developers, you don't necessary to and I mean for you it's not favorable maybe, but those are who just start from the development but still didn't know how's develop your application. That's I think it's necessary part to you need to understand. Yes, that's